No, hold on. Walter Morling on percussion as well. And the first from Do-Rag is called Tire Knocker. Very good too. That's Do-Rag in session, the first from them, which is called Tire Knocker. I'd like to pretend at 5 o'clock this morning. I like it too, I must say. That's Do-Rag in session. Confidential Booty is the title of it. And if you're listening again to Yesterday After... Disappointing, I could find no night staff to patronise. Perhaps I'll try again later during another long record. This is Juno Reactor from Blue Room Released Records. Congo Fury, rather. To go alongside, I suppose, Bongo Fury, who can possibly say. And the first fax that's come through the machine, which is now definitely working on session tonight, this one is Pit Boss.
Oops.
Infinitely perky stuff from Do-Rag.
All right. Let's not do that one right now. Let's do liquor.
Sorry, kids, I didn't realise that there was going to be more. Anyway, Do-Rag in session, and that's called Pit Boss. And, well, next weekend it's Steve Lamacq from Glasgow, and who knows exactly what's going to be in the programme, but you can be absolutely certain it'll be first rate, of course, no question about that. And these are people that, last time I was in Istanbul, actually I bumped into them, charming people. I found them absolutely delightful. And they've got a record which is brought out by Father Yod and Ecstatic Peace Records, working in conjunction. The LP is called Derya, I mean D-E-R-Y-A, and the band is Zen, and this is something called Evelime Develime, except it's probably not pronounced like that, but that'll do for the time being, I think.
Sen sakın deve kuşlarını havalama. Havalama, gebeleme. Böyle şeyler sakın aklına gelmesin ha. Hiç düşünme. Arkandan arkandan gelen seni takip eden, hiç yorulmadan, bıkmadan, usanmadan eveleme, develeri kovalama.
Amusing Turkish persons, that's Zen, and a track called Evelim Develim from their LP Deryer on Father Yod and Ecstatic Peace Records. Cosmic Awakening.
There's growing concern about a man who vanished in Devon with a 10-year-old girl. Anne-Marie Redmond went for a coastal walk in Paynton yesterday with Paul Husband, a lodger at her parents' home. Detective Chief Inspector Phil Sincock.
When a 51-year-old man apparently disappears with a 10-year-old girl, it conjures up all sorts of possibilities.
Police have recaptured an escaped killer as he was boarding a train in London. Thomas Gordon was serving life at Peterhead Prison in Aberdeenshire. He'd escaped during a visit to hospital. Church leaders have condemned a court decision to free a man who admitted killing his disabled brother. The judge ruled that Paul Brady had acted on his brother's request. But Anne Allen of the Church of Scotland says that did not make him right.
I don't think in any circumstances it is right to take the life of another person. I don't think as Christians we would see that in any sense at all, and we wouldn't want the law to be altered in any way to give out that message.
A woman's claiming compensation after saying she woke up during a stomach operation and could feel the surgeon's knife. June Blacker from Aberdare in South Wales says she came round to find the operation was still underway.
I thought they were cutting my hand, but it wasn't my hand they were cutting, it was my stomach. And then, of course, I started panicking and I felt as though I was kicking and screaming to try and attract their attention, but nothing was happening, and then I could hear this machine going funny behind me, and then it was just sheer panic then. It was just all I let loose.
Stunt rider Eddie Kidd spoken for the first time since going into a coma after an accident 6 weeks ago. He's told his wife he loves her and says he wants to go home. Hospital manager James Hatter.
He's very strong-willed and he's determined. Although he is communicating by way of talking, it is still very early, and that has to be made clear. There's a long way to go yet.
Radio 1 News.
Well, this first bit's set on the Westman Islands, which is to the southwest of Iceland. From there, the coach made its way to the cliff tops, and the tour guide produced a large box from under the back seat containing at least 24 puffin chicks. She explained that the juvenile puffins are often reluctant to fly, and to give Mother Nature a helping hand, the good people of the islands round up the stray birds, point them in the direction of the sea, and hurl them into the air. Peterson selected a bird from the box and, cupping it gently in his hand, strolled purposefully over to the cliff edge and tossed it into the warm thermals rising from the water, only to see it plunge 50 feet without even flapping its wings and come to an abrupt halt on the rocks below. Not to be put off by the stunned silence of other tourists and the sobbing of their children, he recruited yet another chick from the batch, and this time threw it higher and further, hoping it might catch the breeze and break into flight. This time, the bird twirled downwards like a seed propeller or a disabled helicopter, then nose-dived into the ocean, leaving 2 or 3 bubbles and a handful of feathers at its point of entry. 10 minutes later, the bird still hadn't surfaced, and Peterson returned to the bus, sitting right at the back, well away from the whispers and withering looks of the other passengers. Is that it?
Sorry, I've got my microphone shut. I suppose it did sound like a point at which I could say, is that it? So are you going to read another bit? Or?
Yeah, well, I could do that now, or I could do that in a bit. Actually, I was going to ask you if you've been to Iceland.
I never have. I'm terrified of flying, you see.
Really?
So I didn't used to be, and I don't have any grisly story to tell you about horrendous experiences on a plane, but I was just flying back from Germany once, and it was a perfectly ordinary flight, you know, an hour and a quarter, straight up, straight down, one of those kind of things. And but I was on my own, and I hadn't got a book to read, and I just sat there thinking about what it was that I was doing, and I thought, here I am, 30,000 feet, being flung forward at 600 miles an hour, can't see where I'm going, and every piece of the machinery in the plane has been put there by somebody who submitted the lowest bid in an auction, and I said, but most importantly of all, it's being driven by somebody that I've never met. And so I genuinely, you know, there's sort of the expression you get in cheap literature, it's sort of too frightened to speak. Yeah. But I actually was. My jaw locked. And when we landed and I was trying to apologise to the stewardesses, they said it happens quite a lot with even quite experienced flyers. They suddenly panic, and I've been panicking ever since.
Well, there's 2 ways of looking at it, isn't it? The one is that that argument about it's not the first 33,000 feet, it's only the last one that's going to kill you. There's that.
There is that.
Yeah.
There is that.
There is that. But the other way of looking at it is that you're only kind of about 10 foot from 33,000 feet of nothing.
Right, and that's supposed to be reassurance, and that represents reassurance.
I'm just trying to keep you off the aeroplanes. I don't want to get sat next to you.
Right, no, they're very, very wise indeed. No, it's just, I know it's stupid, and people said, you know, it's more dangerous to cross a street in central London than it is to fly around the world 8 times.
But you have to do that as well, you see.
Yeah, that's true too.
Your odds are multiplying.
They are, that's right. But, okay, well, read us another bit while I mull over what you've just been saying.
Okay, then. This kind of follows on, but it's on a different day. At the food tasting session... Oh, you're a vegetarian, aren't you, John?
Yeah, I am, but I'm not, I'm not so militant that I get up and leave.
Things up. No. Okay. At the food tasting session back at Reykjavik's Búmannsklukan restaurant, head chef Matthias swept into the upstairs lounge with an assortment of national dishes and local delicacies, none of them instantly recognisable. Having drawn the short straw, Mr. Jameson removed a cocktail stick from a cube of calf's head, passed it carefully from one side of his mouth to the other. Once he had satisfied himself that it was free from eyelashes and teeth, he reported a not unpleasant taste and helped himself to another lump. Mr. Peterson opted for what looked like a slice of ham and had just popped it into his mouth when Matthias finally translated it as womb of lamb. Although Peterson couldn't consider himself a vegetarian, he realised at this point that his appetite for animals was generally limited to the outer 2 or 3 inches of a beast, and even if he had eaten some of the more abstract inner organs during the course of his life, he drew the line at a creature's gynecological equipment. He swallowed it without chewing, but the thought of it stayed with him for much of the afternoon. Next came the braised puffin, which both men sampled and were broadly in favour of. It was a comfort for Peterson to think that the birds he had hurled to their death only days before might not have died in vain, but Jameson had to wonder about the attitude of a nation that ate one of its national symbols. Imagine tucking into topside of bulldog back at home, or wandering into American diner and ordering a bald eagle burger. Last up was a dried catfish cut into strips, hung out on frames and left to cure in the freezing wind. Its texture was somewhere between insole and medium density fiberboard, but once broken down, its flavour was that of any other fish left out on a washing line for 2 years before being passed through an industrial mangle. They thanked Matthias for an extraordinary culinary experience, pocketed a fistful of toothpicks and set out through the streets of the city in search of fruit and vegetables.
Yes, I can identify with an awful lot of that. The womb of lamb sounds a bit of a challenge. I have to admit, eaten meat within the past 10 years. And as I say, I don't have any particular evangelical fervour about this, but we were in Moscow before I developed my terror of flying. And these people that we'd gone to see had obviously great inconvenience and expense to themselves, obtained some meat. So we've gone round to their house and they sat down, and they got dinner already, and they came out and said, we have some meat. And they were obviously terrifically proud of this. So Sheila and I looked at each other and thought, we've got to eat this. We didn't know what it was. I don't suppose they did either. It could have been anything. Could have been womb of lamb. There you go. But we polished it off, and with every appearance of enjoyment, I like to think. Right. So you're going to come back later from them down in the basement. Is the wonderfully titled "Deep House Victims Minibus Appeal."
Public sector leader at the pre-launch breakfast briefing. Get your checkbooks out. I don't want them saying this town doesn't care anymore. So 50C cadets are sailing to a place where no one sails to. They'll probably raise $5,000 there, but for the grace of Riot Girl go you. So give what you can to the Deep House Victims Minibus Appeal. Deep House Victims Minibus Appeal. Deep House Victims Minibus Appeal tonight. See the gutsy lady mayor steer the luge to new dimensions, beam with local pride. Deck quotes with the French transvets, come one, come all, at the new romantic craft fair. Try and guess the alien's weight, sir. 25 pence says you can't. And some of volleyball's top referees will keep us all informed of the Deep House Victims Minibus Appeal. Deep House Victims Minibus Appeal. Deep House Victims Minibus Appeal tonight. Stripped down Italian speed core, new wave of righteous handbag. What's your contribution to the Deep House Victims? Deep House Victims, Deep House Victims Minibus Appeal.
When's he going to speak? Live and direct, that's Half Man, Half Biscuit on the Mark Radcliffe.
Dead men don't need season tickets.
Telephone call telling me my old friend Graham had died. So I took a ride down to where I could be of assistance. shrine, it just doesn't work. My arms round her shoulder, gently I told her, dead men don't need season tickets. Now that he's gone, you're gonna need a helping hand with the lawn, various chores, not least of all those funeral arrangements. And if I were you, I'd get myself away from all that relates. A week in the lakes, reasonable rates, early September. Now I'm no hotelier, but just that I tell ya, dead men don't need season tickets. Maybe I'm forward, but baby I'm morbid. Dead men don't need season tickets. Dead men don't need season tickets. In the mortuary, in the mortuary, in the mortuary, in the mortuary.
Half Man, Half Biscuit, every song title a potential T-shirt. That one's called Dead Men Don't Need Season Tickets, and they're at least...
A little bit more from the Iceland stuff. I should have mentioned that we were there making some radio things as well, which explains in this bit why we're carrying microphones. We're making some radio programs for Radio 3. And also, whilst we were there...
Radio 3, have you done other stuff for Radio 3?
Quite a bit, yeah. I'm a sort of an across-the-networks guy.
Oh, yeah, that's a good thing, because Ivor Cutler is an across the... Because he's done stuff for radios... I don't know if he's done anything for Radio 5. You've done stuff for 5?
Yeah.
Or 5 Live, because I know he had done 1, 2, 3, 4. You've done 1, 2, 3, 4, have you?
Yeah, I've only done a little bit for 2, I'm pleased to say, but...
That's what I think that demands an explanation.
It does, but I'm not going to give one. The other thing I was going to say is that while we were there, we took our, as all Icelandic people do, we took our father's surnames. So I became Peterson, and the guy I was there with became Jameson. And this is about going sailing on a fishing smack. For breakfast, they managed a slice of dry toast and a beaker of water between them, then shuffled down to the quayside. Mr. Rosmondson had promised that the trip would be cancelled if the weather was bad, but unfortunately the clouds were lifting and the sun was beginning to break through. All anoraks were buttoned and zipped, all windshields were tightly laced around the microphones, and names and addresses of loved ones were left on dry land before the boat chugged out of the bottleneck harbour, making for the grey horizon. Sailing for the open sea, Jameson began recalling a certain amount of seafaring history on his father's side of the family, whereas Peterson was descended from a long line of landlubbers of the first water, and as a precaution had already swallowed double the recommended dose of sea legs, as well as attaching the travel band to each of his wrists, a device designed to apply acupressure to the Nycaun point, thereby reducing the effects of nausea and or morning sickness. The boat couldn't have been more than half a mile from land when it swung 45 degrees into the oncoming waves, a move which seemed to coincide with a change in the weather. One second the prow was pointing into the stormy heavens, the next it was heading for the seabed, with a wall of water quivering above it. and it was during one such movement that Peterson's body and soul parted company. They were reunited momentarily, only for his stomach and its contents to go their separate ways as the boat attempted a vertical takeoff, and 10 seconds later he was dragged by one of the crew to the sick bay, a horizontal broom cupboard somewhere below the waterline, to be seen once more in the next 9 hours, when he ventured back up into the daylight and was immediately reacquainted with last night's pepperoni pizza. Up on deck, able seaman Jameson lashed himself to the mast and for the rest of the day recorded the sounds of cod being hauled from the water, coshed on the head, gutted in front of his eyes and tossed into the ice house. It was only when the cook produced a bowl of soup of unspecified origins that he succumbed to the inevitable. Just before sunset, as the boat was rounding the headland for Jaime Harbour, Peterson surfaced from his darkened room and asked a gut-smeared and blood-stained Mr. Jameson if any fish had been caught. His reply was captured on tape, but deemed unsuitable at the end of the day for transmission on National Network Radio.
That made me feel a bit queasy just thinking about it as you were reading along. I'd have been Robertson. Nothing wrong with Robertson.
Nothing wrong at all.
No. Okay, well, is that once again, I have to ask, I keep forgetting to look ahead. Is that...
No, that's me finished now. This is where I got to get back in the car and drive off over the Pennines.
Oh, do you? Oh,
yeah.
Right.
Moving around in a trench coat with the satin on trail. Seems to be all around, it's din and they're palely pale. Driving on down to the beach to see the blue and the grey. Seems to be all on its rosy, it's a beautiful day. Will you please keep on the track? 'Cause I almost want you back. 'Cause I know what you are a gigolo, aren't you? The gigolo, aren't. Yes, I know what you are a gigolo, aren't you? The gigolo, aren't. Heading on down with the light, the dust in your way. She was angrier there than her water-shell mail. Life to this love to me, heading me down to me, Thunderbird Shale. Seems to be all on its rosy, it's a beautiful day. Will you please keep on the track? 'Cause I almost want you back. 'Cause I know what you are a gigolo, aren't you? The gigolo, aren't. Yes, I know what you are a gigolo, aren't you? The gigolo, aren't. Moving on down in a knapsack superlative day. Some wish she moved, the chances she can't move, driving away. She made the scene should have been superlative day. Everything's all on its rosy, it's a beautiful day. Will you please keep on the track? 'Cause I almost want you back. 'Cause I know what you are a gigolo, aren't you? The gigolo, aren't. Yes, I know what you
Frankly, it sounds like me playing guitar on that. That's Sid Barrett and Gigolo Arn from the... sorry, I'm fading myself out there. From the box set Crazy Diamond, the complete recordings on Harvest Records, a set which I don't own. And back after the news...
There's growing concern about a man who's vanished in Devon with a 10-year-old girl. Anne-Marie Redmond went for a coastal walk in Paynton yesterday with Paul Husband, a lodger at her parents' home. Detective Chief Inspector Phil Sincock.
When a 51-year-old man apparently disappears with a 10-year-old girl, it conjures up all sorts of possibilities.
Police have recaptured an escaped killer as he was boarding a train in London. Thomas Gordon was serving life at Peterhead Prison in Aberdeenshire. He'd escaped during a visit to hospital. Church leaders have condemned a court decision to free a man who admitted killing his disabled brother. The judge ruled that Paul Brady acted on his brother's request, but Anne Allen of the Church of Scotland says that did not make him right.
I don't think in any circumstances it is right to take the life of another person. I don't think as Christians we would see that in any sense at all, and we wouldn't want the law to be altered in any way to give out that message.
A woman's claiming compensation after saying she woke up during a stomach operation and could feel the surgeon's knife. June Blacker from Aberdare in South Wales says she came round to find the operation was still underway.
I thought they were cutting my hand, but it wasn't my hand they were cutting, it was my stomach. And then, of course, I started panicking and I felt as though I was kicking and screaming to try and attract their attention, but nothing was happening. And then I could hear this machine going funny behind me, and then it was just sheer panic then. It was just all I let loose.
Stunt rider Eddie Kidd spoken for the first time since going into a coma after an accident 6 weeks ago. He's told his wife he loves her and he says he wants to go home. Hospital manager James Hatter.
He's very strong-willed and he's determined. Although he is communicating by way of talking, it is still very early, and that has to be made clear. There's a long way to go yet.
Radio 1 Newsbeat.
Obviously these, Shropshire Lad and then Paintball's Coming Home.
The second greatest time I had was when they asked me and my dad to organise a festival along the lines of Donington. We took Chirk Airfield as our site, booked the bands we thought were right, received a long range from the Met. They said it could be very wet. With this in mind, we thought it wise to call the whole caboodle off. The greatest time I ever had was when we didn't tell the bands. Boom, 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 let me hear you say hosepipe band. My childhood, my family, my screwed up relationships, my girlfriend, my boyfriend, my suicide to come, the drugs, hell, the drinks bill, Columbia hotel room. I do believe I'm going to plan. What say we go the Isle of Man, 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 Welsh rockers, man, 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 Welsh rockers, man, 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 Welsh rockers, 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 rockers. The Charlie in Bali, the Drake and the superglue, the oneness in strumness, the hits and the myths. These hand towels belong to my Islamic landlord. Actung, Edwardian lampoon. Oh no, my head feels like sponge. They've got the whole world in their house. They've got the whole wide world in their house. They've got the whole world in their house to see the new conservatory. They go 10-pin bowling after work. They go 10-pin bowling after work. They go 10-pin bowling after work, and they're getting married on a Caribbean beach. They've got a German Shepherd Dog called Prince, they've got a German Shepherd. Dog called Prince, they've got a German Shepherd. Dog called Prince, 'cause the one called Sheba died. They know where things are in B&Q. They know where things are in B&Q. They know where things are in B&Q. And they got the Joy of Sex video. If I were a linesman, I would execute defenders who applauded my offsides. They were due on the Crystal Maze, yeah, they were due to go on the Crystal Maze, yeah, they were due on the Crystal Maze, but they got mugged in Florida. They went up in a hot air balloon, they declared their love in a hot air balloon. Yeah, they drank champagne in a hot air balloon and had a row on New Year's Eve. They got nothing but total respect for, they've got nothing but total respect for, they've got nothing but total respect for Annie Lennox. And if I'd have known they were coming, I'd have slashed me wrists.
That's that's superb stuff. Thanks very much indeed. Disconnected jottings, really, with harmony vocals, I think. Last lot. Little bits of this and little bits of that, but wonderful stuff as always. So thanks very much.
This is